I want to show you something. This and all of these are about 60 journals that I have been filling up since I was a kid. And for most of that time, I was a practicing Christian Scientist, a religion that taught me that the sensations that came from my body were not real, that pain was an illusion, and that any emotion that was less than positive needed to be prayed through. And if I wasn't able to, that was my own spiritual failure. So I spent decades practicing what I was taught. I ignored my body's sensations, I prayed through everything, and I talked myself out of feelings. Out of really big feelings that were challenging, like grief and rage and anger. I spiritually bypassed my way through some of the biggest and toughest moments of my life. Except I kind of didn't, and these journals are the proof. Christian Science, if you're not familiar, teaches that the physical world, including your body, is essentially an illusion. Pain, sickness, negative emotion, not real. Not the truth of being. Mind over matter, but taken to an extreme. And I was all in for decades. I was what you might call the gold star Christian Scientist. What that looked like in practice was this. If I had a challenge come up, whether it was emotional or physical, I would pray. I didn't necessarily process it. I didn't allow myself to feel any feelings around it. I went immediately to God and to the books. I didn't go to doctors. I didn't ask for help from anyone else for the most part. And I was taught to declare that it wasn't real. When I felt grief, rage, or fear, I spiritually bypassed it so fast I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. And the damage from that runs pretty deep, I'm finding. Dissociating from your body for that long means that you stop being able to actually hear what it's trying to tell you. I stopped being able to know when I was exhausted, or stopped being able to hear when my body was giving me messages that it was not okay. I stopped being able to really identify if I was even genuinely in a safe environment or not, because I was trained to distrust every signal from my body. I'm still untangling that and probably will be for a while. But here's what happened in therapy this morning that I can't stop thinking about. My therapist and I were talking about how much of my inner world was probably erased because of this process that happened over and over again. And I said, I journaled a lot, but I don't know how reliable of a narrator I am based on how deep I was into the religion. And she asked me, have I gone back to read through some of my journals since then? And I hadn't. So I just spent the last few days going back through some of them, not all of them. It's a long process. And because, yes, I was documenting all the things that I was feeling, the confusion, the fear, the many red flags that I was seeing, and the doubts and the questions. It was all there. But by the end of each journal entry, I wrapped it all up in a bow and ended it with a Bible verse or a declaration of faith to come back to what I knew to be true at that time. It was like my inner world was trying to tell the truth, but I would immediately push it down and say, no, this is what you should be thinking. And that happened over and over again. I want to read you this one from when I was 20 years old. I even write down the location. I'm on the bluffs overlooking the river, 6 p.m., perfect temperature. Okay, resurrection, spiritualization of thought. Working with this idea of a hurt back. I think I had pulled my back while bending over to do something. So I was trying to pray my way through this. Disease, dis-ease, discomfort, annoyance, injury. The image of thought externalized. Slap in the face. Obviously something is not totally right here. I need to rise to my native state and stop judging myself and others. Looking to matter for happiness, a false sense of contentment, satisfaction, or even pain. Stay firm in distinction to what seems to be. Even if I feel unpure, gross, just base thinking, no matter what, my true self is pure, joyful, free. Just like I don't have to rely on the material picture when I feel injured, I don't have to claim that thinking as mine. Inconsistency is not of God. However, sometimes wondering if this Christian Science is true, or is it just controlling thought to benefit myself? My friend asked me, how do you know if it's for real? And I was so firm. I just knew when I answered her. But now I don't even know. Do you really believe? I want to. I know this is reversed, but I want to see it to believe it. When I know I should trust, and then I'll see. Blah, 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 blah. All this is to say that I know if I turn to God, I can probably fix it all without doing anything humanly speaking. Have I ever really given my all to Christian Science, to God? How much am I talk versus demonstration? I think it's 80 to 10. Not good. Humbly kneel to God. What do I need to learn? Where do I go from here? I'm sorry. Teach me, guide me, push me to where I need to go. God gives all his to me. Why shouldn't I give all my all to him? And then later I say, death is not an answer, and neither is medicine or physical therapy. Give up how you think it should be healed, and trust and let. Whew. I could have used some physical therapy for sure at that time. She saw it. Younger me saw exactly what was happening. She wrote it down, but then she would cross it out. But what's fun is I'm getting to meet her and see her for the first time. So here's what I want to talk about today, because I think journaling gets sold to us as this thing that we do just when we're working through something hard or when we're sad, and absolutely we should be doing that too. But that's not the whole picture. Here's what reading through some of my 60 journals has taught me. 1, your journals document the inner world, not just through your dark season. It's one thing to have a photo of yourself from 10 or 20 years ago, but it's another thing to read what that previous self was thinking and what she was going through, what you were afraid of, what you wanted, what you were questioning, what you were telling yourself at 2 a.m. while no one was watching. A photo shows you your face, but journals show the evolution of your inner world over time. And watching that shift over decades, there's nothing like it. 2, your journals validate the experiences that you may have been taught to dismiss. I'm finding brand new nuances to the stories that I've been telling myself for years, because now I'm reading it with different eyes. And what I'm seeing is that the red flags were always there. My gut was clocking them, but I wasn't giving myself room to actually believe my own experience. Journaling gave me a witness to my own life, even in seasons when I couldn't fully be that witness for myself. 3, your journals show how far you've actually come. Not in like a motivational poster kind of way, like hang in there, but in like a real gritty, like this is how it was, this is what you were really feeling kind of way. Look at how different your internal landscape has shifted over the years kind of way. While this is who I was back then, now I have an updated version of who I am now, and I can trace every step between then and now. My religion tried to erase or override my inner world, but these 60 journals have shown me that it didn't work. Thank goodness. And if you've been through something, deconstruction, a divorce, a career change, whatever upheaval in your life, I want you to hear this right now. Your inner world is more resilient than you know. Even when you feel like you're falling short, part of you is still showing up, still writing it down, still witnessing and bearing witness to your life. And that matters. If you're in the middle of figuring out who you're going to be on the other side of this, you're in the right spot. Stick around. And if you have an old journal, maybe crack it open again. You might meet someone that you've been missing.